This is good. Good evening, Ellie, and
Good
thanks
evening.
for joining. Um, and thanks for your time, especially because upon your travel plans and you've just had to basically stop your journey, find a hotel, just so that you'll be able to join into your session host
Um,
us on Business Links Africa. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate that effort and all
yeah,
that. Yeah, it's so good to have you. We're here because we want to talk about this hot topic about mobile interoperability, which you've been running all over the country, all over Africa, trying to get all the final bits together to ensure that this great program, this good initiative actually happens in Africa, especially in Ghana. And we really appreciate all your efforts for making this happen.
sure.
A lot of us have heard about it on the news.
Yeah.
We've been reading about bits and pieces of it,
Okay.
but we haven't actually got our heads around it properly yet.
Okay.
So it's good to have you with us so that you can explain it to us. We have a lot of questions, but we know that we might be able to go through all the questions, if not fair enough. But the most important thing is that we get to understand this initiative well, because most of the people that will be watching this video, will be watching this live, are people that are so interested in terms that they've been sending money through various means to their relatives, to their business partners, to people in Ghana. And so we'd like to understand it well so that we know exactly what to do when we need to use that and even when to invest in it. So tell me, like, one of the first questions that came was, what is mobile interoperability, MMI?
Well, mobile money interoperability, as the name suggests, is a service that is connecting multiple mobile money platforms, such that you can allow direct and a seamless transfer of funds. Before interoperability, the platforms were pretty much in silos. So if you have network X, you could only send funds to customers within that network. If you needed to send money across that network, we have something we call a token. You generate a token, and that token is then forwarded to the customer on the other side. That customer can only terminate that token in cash. And that cash will have to be cash he needs to collect from an agent point. But with interoperability, what we've allowed is for you to send money directly to another customer on another platform, directly to that person's wallet. And that person can receive the money on his or her wallet and do the next activity for that matter. In Ghana, what we've done beyond just the basic mobile money interoperability is we've also enabled interoperability between the mobile wallets as well as bank accounts. So today, you can send money from your mobile money wallet to any bank account, and you can also push money from a bank account to a mobile money wallet. There is just one side of the jigsaw, which is the ability to pull money from your mobile money wallet from your bank account using your mobile money wallet. For that, it means that you would actually be within your mobile money environment and trying to pull money onto your wallet. That service is currently not available. The project is ongoing to make it available in the next month and a half, let's put it that way. And then the other one, which is also another opportunity, is eSwitch. And eSwitch was a service that was set up by the Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System, GIPS. And it's an e-wallet solution, but the service is card-based. So if you set up an account or a wallet, you are given a card, a plastic card, and you could use the plastic card at any agent POS to either put money on your wallet or take money out of your wallet. And we are seeking to connect that also, or interoperate that also with the mobile money wallet, so that customers of eSwitch can also move money to a mobile money wallet, and a mobile money wallet can also move money to an eSwitch account. By so doing, we would have interconnected the three main channels of payment and make the platforms interoperable, such that customers who need to make payment to one another can do that seamlessly.
Oh, that's great. It seems quite a good system and a good service for the various businesses that are involved with this initiative and who are providing the service to start with. Can people from Europe and the rest of the world join in as well?
Yes. First of all, if you're going to be joining from Europe, the whole idea is because it's interoperability among mobile money wallets, you will need to own a mobile money wallet. And then once you own a wallet, then from that point on, you can sort of link that wallet to a regular bank account, or if the eSwitch service becomes available, that can also be done. For you, I would imagine you probably would want to pay people here, or people would want to pay you for that matter. If you have the opportunity, then you can actually use your mobile money wallet to pay somebody into his bank account, or to pay another mobile money wallet. So first of all, you need an active mobile money wallet. And because the service itself can work via roaming, means you can have the account and be able to use it from wherever you are, except that the funds on mobile money is denominated in Ghana cedis. So you will not be able to do any foreign exchange transactions using your mobile money wallet. For the other extension is, if you were also doing business with somebody in Ghana and that person didn't have a bank account, you can also use your bank account to do transactions with that person using his mobile money wallet. So that's the way it connects and starts.
All right. To get my head around that, we'll come back to that question again, because I still haven't understood it properly. But the second question from the members on the forum was, can one simply dial existing mobile money shortcode to access the service?
Yes, essentially that is what it is. The customer does his existing shortcode, and interoperability is not written as interoperability on the menu. It is written as transfer to other networks. And so once you select that as a service, then you can use it.
Right. So once you select that and transfer, it actually links you to the
yes, you select that, and then the next thing you do is you make a decision of which of the network you want to send the money to. And the rest is pretty much the straightforward steps for any regular user, which means put in an amount, do a confirmation, and then the transaction is processed.
So how can one subscribe, which is question number 3, for the MMI service? Is there a specific app, or each provider has their own app to use for the MMI service? How is it done?
There's actually no subscription. Just like I explained, because it works off your normal menu. If I am an MTN, for example, customer, I just go to my regular menu and I'm sending to a Vodafone customer. I select Vodafone, I put in the person's wallet number, which is essentially his phone number. Okay. And then the amount I want to send, and bingo, is gone. So there's no subscription required, because it's a service that is available as and when you want to use it.
All right. Right. So that was the fourth question, was what I initially asked you: are Ghanaians or people abroad qualified to use this service? I understand you basically explained it. From my understanding, does that mean that if I wanted, because I've been using a service called WorldMate,
Yes, WorldMate. Yes, you're
So
right.
what's the difference, or what's the best way to use that service, to use the interoperability service?
Okay, that would not be playing into this necessarily. WorldMate is actually an international remittance service, and it's a partnership on its own. What essentially it allows our customers to do is they are able to receive remittances from abroad. Unfortunately, the regulation in Ghana only allows inward remittances. So our customers in Ghana can only receive remittances from abroad. They cannot send out because the send out regulations have currently been curtailed, so customers can send out. But in receiving, you can receive money onto your MTN mobile money wallet from any of the WorldRemit countries. Once the customer is a registered WorldRemit customer, you can use the service to send money into a mobile money wallet, and that is feasible. That's got nothing to do with interoperability because remember, interoperability in itself is a connection that is supposed to feed off the local transactions and also support seamless payments across platforms. So remittances sits on its own, and it's a service that would be unique to some platform customers. So for instance, by the fact that we have interoperability does not mean that all the services that is available to MTN or to Vodafone, let's say MTN customers, would suddenly become available to Vodafone customers. So my customers will continue to experience their unique service portfolio as it is. But what we have allowed that customer now to do is, instead of not being able to receive payment or money from a Vodafone customer today or a Tigo or vice versa, he's able to do that. But the service portfolio remains unique to the platform.
Oh, great. As part of because we rushed into this, so I just wanted to find out, if you look on your screen on your right-hand side, you find a group chat. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, I've sent you a message. Can you see that?
I'm trying to, no, I can't see anything.
On your right-hand side, is there a group chat, a white screen?
No, I only see a live chat, then a little circle with some.
All right, that's okay. Don't worry about it then.
I can't see any write-up at the moment.
All right. Yeah. So a question from the forum just dropped in. Please explain SIM box fraud. How do the fraudsters make their money, and how can they?
Okay, SIM box. I'll just give a little basic explanation so it helps. Essentially, if I am calling you from Ghana, or you are calling me from the UK, it's supposed to go through my provider's network. Okay. Be recognized as an international call, and the rates that applies to international calls would be applied. But what happens is that the same boxes or the fraudsters literally set up a local hub. So when your call comes through, it is connected to me using a local line. So to the provider, it is seen as a local call, and therefore the charges for that transaction would be a local call. But what essentially they have done is there is an international transaction that have been terminated as a local call. So for the local network, they lose the traffic from that transaction, essentially because they are only getting local fees for that transaction, when indeed it's an international call, and therefore the international billing is lost to the operator. And those who have set up that then benefit from that fee differential. That's a simple way of explaining it.
All right. So so in terms of probably if one sends money, for example, is there a way that they can, get hold of that money?
No. So let me explain it in two ways. The first one is what you called the WorldMate, which is essentially an international remittance service. For that one, it is the connectivity between that platform and the receiving platform. So let me do the example of MTN again. So WorldMate and MTN have the partnership is a bilateral. Transactions are terminated to the wallet. It stays within that space and the funds come in. Now, what happens is that when the funds are transacted, it works based on the messaging. The messaging comes through to the hub local, and that hub acknowledges the transaction value of, let's say, $10 converted to 45 cedis. And that transaction is then translated into 45 cedis, which is then credited to the subscriber's wallet. Now, that instruction is a bilateral conversation between the WorldMate side and the receiving side, whether MTN, Vodafone, and so on. So that would not be an issue for concern. The reason why the sandbox bid is of interest is that there's a difference in the rates for the calls. The local calls are cheaper than the international call. So that differential in the cost is the motivation. But in the case of money transfer, the funds are coming in straight onto the customer's wallet. So indeed, you are receiving the call. It's not as if the call is not coming. You are receiving the call. So you are receiving your money. But the fee for that transaction is what the same boxes are benefiting from because of the differential in cost. I hope it clarifies. Then for the mobile money side, because you are sending to a platform that is connected to the hub, that transaction will also be enabled. Otherwise, the credentials may not fit what the hub is interpreting. And so nobody can send a fraudulent instruction to pass because there is a standard instruction from a standard source that is processed into transactions for the customer on the other side.
Okay, great. I've just sent you a message on your, can you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
All right.
Yeah.
Basically, can we use the MMI services for transferring or making interbanking payments from abroad?
Okay, two things. One, the mobile money interoperability, for you to begin with, starts with a mobile money account. That's the primary thing. Now, for interbank transactions, they are already enabled using your regular bank electronic platforms. That's completely different from this conversation. So if you have an existing electronic platform, you use that platform to do a transaction to another bank, that becomes an interbank transaction. So it is not exactly an interoperable transaction. Now, where there is a wallet involved and a bank account involved, then it becomes an interoperable transaction. Or where there is two wallets involved, then it becomes an interoperable transaction. But two bank transactions can happen on the bank side. It doesn't need to go through the interoperability platform at all. Today, that service is enabled, and it's not enabled through interoperability. The banks have their own connectivity, and that transaction is enabled either using the GIPS platform, the GH link, or using the Visa or MasterCard platform, as the case may be, depending on what kind of account you are working with. Oh,
great. I've just had another question from the forum, which is, can you please explain sandbox fraud? How do the fraudsters make their money, and how can they be stopped completely? That's the first question that came. And the second question, I think, is also got to do with it. And it's asking, what are the telcos doing to combat SIM back fraud, as the SIMs used in these frauds are from the telcos? Especially since ID is required for SIM purchases and registrations. How can the gangs buy bulk SIMs?
Okay, two things, and I'll try and explain it this way. First of all, there have been a lot of work around dealing with SIM box. We had task force that went out to try and pick up these people. Yes, the SIMs are available through our agents, and the agents are supposed to follow due process to register accounts for, or to register SIMs for customers. But because sometimes you are not everywhere these agents are working, it's practically very difficult to say that you can see everything they are doing. What we do on our side is there are specific rules that govern their work, and we take action when we pick up any misalignment to the rules. The other side is that when the issues are picked up also on our side, if we observe, because sometimes these things will happen where international calls get terminated locally. Once we pick these signals, we also investigate and try and deal with the source. And we've done this collaborating with our partners, the police, and also among ourselves as telecoms service providers. And I must say that this has been largely minimized. But the bottom line is that price differential, and therefore that motivation will continue to exist.
Yeah, it looks like it would. So that would be a very big challenge for us all, especially we, the users, and you, the telco companies. Of course, these fraudsters are everywhere in every business. So the next,
and we believe that if we also look at that, working to deal with the price differential, because that has always been our proposal, then sometimes once you take that differential away, it also will take away the incentive, except that government also has a view and feels that that is not exactly the solution from their side.
Yeah, I think you might need to adjust your screen a little bit.
Okay.
So that we can see you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's much better. If you can go back just a little bit, yeah, okay. It's much better that way. Yeah, because what you're seeing was better. Yeah, it's better like that. Yeah, yeah. I hope we could lift it up and then you can see you straight. But because you're looking down at it, so but it's okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Lifting the screen this way.
But if it would be a problem, just leave it as it was. It's fine.
Okay. All right.
So long as we can see you, that's the most important.
All right.
Yeah. The next question is, does this service mean individuals can use their existing mobile money PIN to authorize all transactions to other networks?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Your existing PIN would allow you to do interoperable transactions. In instances where we move to that particular pool from bank account, the customer may choose to have an additional PIN, but for now, the existing PIN is sufficient to execute the transaction.
And can a subscriber transfer any amount of money to their recipient by their mobile money operator?
Not exactly. The mobile money service itself has 3 different account types or wallet profile based on KYC. We have the low, the medium, and the enhanced. The low is able to allow you up to 500 Ghana cedis transactions daily. Then for the medium, is able to allow you 2,000 a day, and then the enhanced allows you 5,000. Now, the enhanced gives you a total monthly aggregated transaction value of 50,000. The medium 20,000. So there are limits, and depending on the limits for your wallet, you are able to execute one transaction or the other. But ultimately, you can't do a transaction higher than 5,000 on mobile money a day, because that's the maximum limit that is allowed.
Oh, great. And will the mobile money interoperability deal with the issue of cyber fraud once and for all?
No, not exactly. I mean, mobile money interoperability is just like any electronic transaction, and therefore the customers' vigilance customers' vigilance is still important. Just like you are doing any electronic or online transaction, you need to make sure you haven't exposed your PIN. You need to make sure you haven't disclosed your PIN to anybody, and you need to make sure that you are following the specific rules that have been provided to execute that transaction. It's still very important. You cannot be discussing your financial transaction over the phone with anybody. You should not be responding to an email from someone purporting to be your either your financial assistant or your branch support manager or your personal banker or anything. Follow the same rules, because it's the same transaction. It has nothing different from your usual electronic transaction.
So if a subscriber tends for support issues in regards to a transaction using the mobile interoperability system, for example, if a transaction fails, how can they? What sort of support? How did they I mean, you guys, MTN, other telephone companies, how do you provide that support?
Okay, typically the customer will report to their service provider. So if you are a Vodafone customer, you report to Vodafone. If you are an MTN, you report to MTN. We will pick the issues, try and analyze it from our point, and then we can contact the recipients or the other party's network provider, and would address the issue accordingly. So you speak to your network service provider.
Okay. Due to this, this next question is a bit, it's in terms of, I'd ask it anyway, because it's from one of our members. As part of fraud prevention measures, when and to what extent will MTN incorporate biometrics to uniquely identify each and every subscriber?
Okay, the biometric project itself is an ongoing project. We've commenced it. We are working on it. We will be rolling out in phases, but there are some dependencies. For instance, if you're going to use biometrics to now onboard customers, then it means that when that customer goes to an agent point, he should be able to find a device that is able to read the thumbprint at the agent point. So that part of the investment, remember today, agents are business people, and therefore you cannot put all that kind of immediate expectations on them, especially if you understand the environment in which they work. And so those are some of the dependencies, and the subscribers themselves would need to have devices that support biometrics. So beyond that, in terms of technology, yes, it's something we are working on. We are ready to do some initial rollout, but it will be done in phases. But ultimately, we expect to get to that level where we can achieve biometric identification for our transactions.
Well, the biometrics, is that working in terms with the government? How do you get that?
Well, we have had a number of engagements at that level, but what happens is that sometimes you can't wait for government. So you get on with it, and then when they come along, there would always be opportunities to partner. We were looking strongly at the National ID project, but we've not had that level of engagement that can allow an easy integration. So we are not there yet.
Well, I think that is a very good point that you've actually raised, because that can reduce the amount of fraudulent issues happening around the telcos at the moment. And that should actually be a big issue, either the biometrics or using the cards, because then you can uniquely identify people at point of sale, don't you?
Yeah, exactly the point. And we hope that once the national ID project kicks off, we'll be able to get to those kinds of level of collaboration and support for that matter.
Okay.
It will be very useful. Indeed, we look forward to using that to deal with a number of the issues we currently are unable to tackle because of the multiple ID system we have currently. Okay. Because today, if somebody even counts with some of the IDs, it's difficult to validate because the systems are not connected and accesses are not available. We have just access to a few.
Yeah, I can understand that, because it's a big issue in Ghana at the moment. The next question that we had from the forum, which is it the telco's proposal that the government should reduce the cost differential between international calls and local calls to stop the SIM box fraud?
Well, we have had that conversation around looking at the differential, because once that differential is attractive, what is going to happen is then that kind of interest will pop up. But like I mentioned, this is an ongoing conversation. We'll still continue to dialogue and see the best way out. We have had success in dealing with it using other strategies. And so it's not something which has been left to run unchecked. So today we've done a lot of work. So we'll continue to explore all the opportunities that we get to deal with it.
Wonderful. The next question is also from the forum. It's in the quest to future-proof MTN, to what extent is MTN exploring and possibly including blockchain technology into its business processes?
Okay. Blockchain is an ongoing conversation. We are still looking at the various aspects and how that can impact on our business, but I am unable to categorically state that this and that has been done already, but it is part of our strategic conversations in trying to ensure that we take advantage of the technology as much as possible and see the areas where it can enhance our business.
Oh, great. It's all new technologies, so I guess.
So, whilst you look at it, you also look at your own internal technology and preparedness and readiness and all that, and see where you can plug in here and there, and see what additional value you can add. So yes, it's part of our current discussions, including all the things about cryptocurrency itself, which has become very topical.
Oh, great. Yeah, crypto is also another topic that is for another day, because there's been quite a long conversation about it, and it would be good to have our heads around it as well. But hopefully when you're a bit more freer, we'll get some more updates from you. So now we've got three main things which you're hoping to combine with your system, which is to do with the biometrics. The second thing is the national ID card and blockchain. All right. So it's quite good that we had this conversation so that we can update ourselves when every now and again, when you've actually got to those extents where you can update us on. So the next question, what's the difference between this new mobile money interoperability system and what was already available, such as Express Pay Ghana, World Pay, and all that?
Yeah, in fact, I mean, these conversations have lingered on. Indeed, when we were going through the preparatory stages to bring this main one, people have said that we already have it while we're still looking at it. The difference is actually in two specific areas. The current one, the likes of Express Pay and Move and others have, are bilateral setups. And therefore, you don't have the kind of scale that you achieve on this side, where today, because of the fact that GIBs themselves are already connected to all the banks, once we achieve that single connectivity, all the banks have become connected. And so you can actually push money to any bank account. But like I said, and you can also push money from any bank account to the wallet. The aspect of pool is what we are working on, and I'm sure that will also be achieved. So that's the first one, the scale at which the business is able to operate. It's much bigger on this side versus the bilateral ones that we have currently with Express Pay and Co. The second one is I also know that in terms of pricing, there will be some price differentials, and the current solution is likely to deliver a more competitive pricing than what the likes of Express Pay and Co. are doing. And so in terms of the way the service is set up, from price point of view, that would also be another. But otherwise, I mean, if you want to move money, you can still move money. So those are the key differences I would talk about: the size, the scale, and then also pricing.
Oh, great. So are there other competitors to the MMI? What are they offering that makes a difference?
For the MMI or mobile money interoperability, it's like I mentioned from the beginning, it's a service, and a service that allows movement of funds across mobile money platforms, banks, and now we are talking eSwitch. In terms of competition, I'm not too sure where we look at it, but essentially we are serving a need, and that need had been an opportunity all along. So if we take the likes of Express Pay, who have been doing that, then you can look at it from that point of view. But they also do other things. So if it's direct competition, then maybe that could be one of the things we could look at.
Okay, I mean,
if I've addressed your question.
Well, not fully, because I'm thinking in terms of, are there banking features for setting up weekly or monthly standing orders, savings, checking online statements and things like that? And are there any tax implementations, any charges that are different?
For mobile money itself, today in this market, there are no direct taxes except the operators who pay their corporate tax, and for the relevant VAT on the respective services, no. And the same applies to interoperability. There are no direct taxes for using the service. And for the monthly and the weekly, it's already an existing service. It's actually not linked to interoperability, because before, customers could set up daily, weekly, monthly, which was a service which was available to customers. And today, even if you sign up for a savings product, it's part of the design. You want to save monthly or you want to save daily. Those are options customers are able to select as part of the service design. So it was already an existing feature on most of our services. And we call it under the mobile money setup for mobile MTN authorized payment. So you authorize a payment and then you set a cycle and it will process.
I think it's a very good service because it allows people that live in remote areas, farmers, fishermen, our own people in the rural areas, to have some sort of banking facility available to them, especially in these days that you can find access to mobile phones from anywhere around the world. So yeah, it's a very good initiative that you've put through. If you think about it as well, people that are doing microfinance companies, for example, how do you facilitate them?
Well, greatly. First of all, today for the micro finance, they do two things. They take in deposits, they give loans. In the area of deposits or taking in, we have solutions that enable them to receive these kinds of deposits seamlessly. And so for the customer, he can say, okay, he wants to be contributing daily, like the Susu kind of thing. And all the customer needs to do is at the time or on the daily account by close of day, the customer needs to have the amount that he has or he or she has agreed to be deducted daily. The system will process it as one, and then the debit notification goes to the customer, and the company receives the credit, and we set it up in such a way that it goes to even credit the customer's account directly. So they're able to use that for collections. Now, what it helps them to do is they avoid, sometimes there are agents who go out and sometimes take money and don't bring it back. And the cost of managing agents is also curtailed, because essentially you need fewer agents, and what the agents will now be doing primarily will be customer education, customer engagement, but they will not be involved in direct collection of money, because that is processed and it comes in directly. You are sure the customer has paid. The customer is also sure that it's paid. And for the disbursements also, the same channel is used using our bulk payment service that allows them to disburse funds to the various recipients in one go. So yes, those are the positive side of it. It makes collections cheaper because the cost of doing that is much lowered. And also the disbursements, the guy doesn't have to travel all the way to the office to receive that small amount of money. Can just be in his village, get the money and use it for his small business. And then as he gets money, he pays back in small amounts, also through the same medium, no movement. He just needs an agent who can help him or her to fund the wallet.
Yeah, it's quite important, because a couple of weeks ago, last 2 weeks, as you be aware, every 2 weeks we have a session here where we talk about issues in Ghana. And one of the topics that we spoke about 2 weeks ago was to do with mobile, the small scale funding.
Micro SMEs and microfinance.
Yeah. And Sheila Azantuba, who was she mentioned that they've been having to move sometimes large amounts of money in between the villages and to basically to places just to allow people to come and receive their funds, which is a bit of a worry. So the first thing I promised her was that once I speak to you, I'll find out how they can avoid having to send such huge amounts of money. Of course, we are all aware of how risky that can be.
Yeah.
So how close are we getting to basically, or how possible, or when is this all going to start happening, so that, you know, we can talk about it, or I can, you know, get her to meet you and discuss it?
Well, first of all, we can always set up a meeting to understand how their business model works, because the partnership goes all the way to, like we just talked about, microfinance. We also work with rural banks. They are also part of the chain. Their Apex body, which is ARB Apex, is one of our partners. And so we have a good understanding of how their model works. So through the rural banks, you're able to provide funding and access to funds for our rural folks, so they can go through that channel to receive their money. Yeah. And for those who are doing smaller amounts, they can do that through our agents. So smaller amounts, the agents will cover that. Slightly bigger amounts, which the agents cannot manage. The rural and community banks are also connected, and they can also facilitate that. So it depends on what they are doing. Once we understand the model, we can sit down and craft something.
Okay. Will there be the possibility, or are there any charges, extra charges involved?
I will not be talking extra charges here. Once again, the requirement will dictate the price. We don't have a one-size-fits-all. We look at the solution, we look at the customer requirement, and we do a proposal. Okay. And then based on that proposal, we discuss with the client, and then we come out with what works for all of us to be able to address the problem. Because remember, the customer is coming in with a position where this is how much he's paying to deliver the same service, the risks and other things involved. And then you also come and say, this is how I can solve your problem. And then between the two businesses, we strike a balance. At the end of the day, it's win-win because that person is getting service delivered at a cheaper cost. And we also provide an enhanced solution that brings efficiency to the operations.
Oh, great. That's quite important as well. And the next thing that also has just come in mind that we didn't add to the questions, but I'm just thinking about it. We have people that donate things and try to create things like libraries, that donate computers to schools. We are all aware of the new, this is probably a bit away from the topic, but I'm just asking, are there any solutions that you provide in terms of connectivity systems, connectivities and things like that? Because most of the problems that they have is that when they get to these places, and I'm only asking because you're part of the telcos,
yeah.
When they get to these places, they probably don't have any Wi-Fi, for example, or any means of connecting to be able to train them. Do you have any sort of facility available for doing that?
Okay, first of all, there are two things. From our foundation, we identify some of these communities ourselves and build libraries that we connect using our network. That's one side. The second one is, as a business, we are also expanding our connectivity into more rural communities now. And the good thing is that we have identified some cheaper connectivity
solution
technology and solutions that is allowing us to be able to do that. So for most of the rural communities, very soon we should give them the experience. And for us also, we believe that if we are giving you good value in the city, and for instance, you visit your mom, we shouldn't downgrade your experience. We should be able to maintain the same experience you had in Accra. So exactly. Those are the things we are looking at, and essentially trying to build the quality of network. So that will come along the way. We just need to understand today where the needs are, because we have planned based on our network review that these are the places we are going to expand connectivity and give them data services, because today everybody is on WhatsApp. So there are no rural areas anymore, and we need to take
advantage of it.
3G and 4G network to as many places as we can.
Oh, that's good. Very, very, very good to know that. It always brings so much questions, and it also exposes, and it's very informative, because now all these various sectors, various areas that we didn't even think about has now been connected to this, what we're talking about, and to yourselves and the service you're providing. So yeah, it looks like there's a lot that we need to talk about. So the next question, back onto our questions from the panel. Can a person subscribe to more than one MMI provider?
Yes. Remember that the mobile money wallet is just like a bank account. So today, just like you have an account with Barclays or EcoBank or Fidelity or GT Bank or Access, you can have accounts with the various providers. You just need to satisfy the KYC requirements and you own a wallet. So
right. And it's the main question is MMI operational yet? Is it fully operational? Or if not, when?
Yeah, it's fully operational. Like I started, the operational side is fully done on the mobile money side. The bank interconnectivity or interoperability is, let's call it 80% done. The other 20%, which in fact is the area of our interest, is the mobile money wallet holder being able to, within his USSD or telecom environment, move money from.
I think I've lost you there. I can't see you.
Can you?
I can't. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can. Okay. I can see myself.
Oh, okay, I can't see you.
Okay. Let me just try and see if there's something. Is it okay?
No.
Okay.
I can hear you though, but I can't see you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and.
I think you're. Hold on one second. Oh. I don't know why. Okay. Can you see me though? Can you hear me, Eli? Hello? Oh boy. I think I've lost you. Okay, I'm going to log off and log back in again because it looks like.
Don't.
Yeah, is it okay now?
No, I still can't see you. I can hear you though, but I can't see you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I can see you.
All right.
Oh, good. Yes. So, like you were saying, is it fully operational now?
Yes, it's fully operational, and the services I highlighted, which is the wallet side, is all operational. The bank side, some services are available. There's just one side. Today, on the bank side, you can push money to any bank account. You can move money from the bank account to your wallet, but doing it from the bank's environment. We are now trying to enable it from the mobile money environment, where you can stay within your mobile money environment and move money onto your wallet from your bank account. Then the third one, which is the additional one, is the e-switch, which I discussed from the beginning. That is not available yet, but in terms of mobile money interoperability, fully operational.
What's e-switch?
E-switch is actually an electronic wallet. This came up some time back. I don't remember which year, must be 2006, 2007, thereabout. And it was a solution that was delivered by GIPS, Ghana Interbank Payment and Settlement System. And it was essentially to provide a channel for the unbanked to own an account. So it's more like a mobile money kind of thing. But in the case of the e-switch, what happens is that it doesn't work off your wallet or off your phone. It works off a plastic card. I know initially the plan was that they will have a mobile version, but that didn't come off. So they were left with the one that worked with the card, and you could access the service from an e-switch merchant. So you go to the merchant, slot in your card, and you can either receive money on your account or wallet, e-switch wallet, or send money to another person using your card. The difficulty around it is that it did not enable online activity or mobile activity. So you necessarily must interact with an agent before you can do one transaction or the other. So it didn't take off very well. But today, we believe that services like interoperability would enhance the value of e-switch and also enable that side of the service to also grow.
Okay, so is it a sort of a credit card sort of thing?
It's a debit card.
A debit card, I mean,
yes,
sorry.
It's a debit card. So you have it. And at some point, in fact, all bank customers, I remember there was a directive that all bank customers should have e-switch accounts. They used it for I remember for national service and other projects to try and increase the usage. So it's been around for a while, but mobile money has come and taken off very quickly and much faster. So it's sort of been relegated to the background. But it's similar to mobile wallet, except that this one works on a plastic card as the means of, or as the channel of use.
So the question is, why are other African countries not participating in MMI services?
Well, look, these things, first of all, the operators have their own strategy around what they want to do. And also, sometimes it also evolves around the market maturity because we didn't start off with interoperability. It ran for some time before the conversation came. So it depends on the maturity levels of the various markets and also the strategy of the operators as well as government. Because in this case, there has also been interest from government to try and make it happen so that they can expand the payment ecosystem and involve the unbanked as well, so they can also be part of it. So those kinds of strategic intent also influences some of these decisions and projects going forward. But otherwise, I'm sure most of these markets will come around in the near future.
Right, right. Talking about the government, so another question from the forum, 21, it says, why does the government get involved in the setting of MMI services? I think that is because of the announcement that came from Dr. Bawumia. Okay. Is it a business advantage for a mobile telecom service provider?
Well, like I explained, from the government side, remember, is around the whole strategy and policy around expanding the payment ecosystem. Today, most people don't have bank accounts. You want them to use electronic channels for payment because you also want to clean the system of all the back doors and things that happens when cash is involved.
Yeah.
And also improve the efficiency of the system that we have. Because once you take away cash, then it means that one, electronic transactions are faster, it also becomes more convenient, and it's also accountability and traceability of these transactions are enhanced.
Yeah,
and therefore, from the government side, they are seeking to look at how they can improve on efficiency of business. And that would go in a long way to improve their own economic growth and transformation, because if the farmer today is able to participate using mobile money just like a regular bank account would have served him, then that would have also improved. Today on mobile money you can buy Bank of Ghana T-bills. So you see exactly what that means. It means that the farmer in the village can also participate. Our IPO, which we just launched, you can use your mobile money wallet to invest in MTN shares. So it's all about expanding the ecosystem and also bringing many more people to participate. So from that strategic point of view, the government sees interoperability as a key enabler to promote economic growth. So that's it. From the telco side, it's also the strategy and how we want to promote our service and the things we believe will drive that growth. And so between the two parties, we look at those opportunities that we derive, and then we go to try and satisfy that strategy.
Oh, that's really good, because we're talking about efficiency, economic growth, and also businesses, how businesses will could get involved. And it's good that you mentioned your IPO, which you've actually just launched. Is the IPO gone live now? Are people able to invest?
Yes. I mean, from the day we launched on the 29th of last month, a couple of days ago, people have started investing and using their mobile money wallets.
Oh, okay. So how does one, I mean, those of us abroad that might be interested in investing, how can we get involved in doing that?
You can get online. either the MTN side or IC Securities, who are the transaction advisors, and then try and look at, first of all, look at the prospectus, go through it, and make a decision of your shares. And you can do that and pay using, like I mentioned, your mobile money wallet. You can also pay using your bank account. So the various payment options are available. But the important thing is having apprised yourself of the prospectus and make an informed decision.
Since you have our man himself with that, is it possible that you'll be able to arrange some sort of a source for us to be able to communicate and try to invest through that?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. And I would engage IC Securities and then get them to engage the forum and provide the necessary information to give you proper guidance in taking that investment decision.
Wonderful. That's very important, because even prior to this session, I've had a few friends and colleagues who are very interested in joining. So I think it'd be a very good opportunity for us to do that. And for ourselves as Business Links members, I think it would be a good opportunity for all of us to get involved with this, because one of the main reasons why we're together is coming back home and finding business opportunities to invest in, to get ourselves involved with. So it was one of the latest topics that we were discussing. And I think this would be a very good proposal for us to go forward. So I think we're going to talk about it even further shortly.
I will make that contact quickly and link you guys up.
Thank you so much. There are other questions about where they store our deposits and why they have capacity to give us interest among others. How do we confirm that they are stored in the right place? When did the interest they pay start accruing?
Okay, all right.
I see you smiling there, so it seems to be one of the main.
I'll take my time to explain that. First of all, the way the mobile money service is designed, remember, it's fully regulated by the Central Bank of Ghana, and the regulation stipulates that mobile money operators partner banks to run the service. And therefore, the electronic money that is available to the customer for use has the cash equivalent sitting at one of our partner banks. And as part of the requirements, the banks are supposed to pay some interest, which is also mandated and also advised by the central bank. So that interest is paid on a monthly basis, and the interest is aggregated over a quarter, and it is based on the customers on the customer's wallet, and it's usually calculated based on the overnight balance. And so once we aggregate that on quarterly basis, based on a timetable that has also been advised by the central bank, we pay the interest to customers, which is interest that the banks have paid for the funds they are holding in trust. And this is passed on to our customers. So the funds don't sit with us. That's why I was laughing, because most of the time, the general feeling is MTN is keeping the money. The money is kept with the bank because that is their mandate and that is what they are expected to do. And we do the front end of the business and ensure that our customers are supported to use the service. And that at the end of the month into a quarter, the interest calculated is paid. There's just one other bit I want to clarify, that the interest so accrued, the mobile money operators are expected to pay a minimum of 80% of that interest to subscribers.
Oh, okay. All right. That's understandable. Of course, you're a business, so one way or the other, you have to sustain yourselves. And this is one of the means that you can do that. And it obviously costs to run a business. You have to pay the staff, you have to put up all this equipment and all that. So definitely. the next question obviously seems to come from a very tax, someone that is working in a tax service probably. It says, will Ghana's Communications Service Tax, CST, Amendment Act of 2013 affect or increase the cost of transactions on MMI?
No, I mean, the communication service in itself is completely different. It's on the other side of the telecom business. This is mobile money. We are yet to see a specific tax on mobile money. We've said that we don't think it is the way to go for various reasons. Today, we are using the channel to promote payments. And we believe that we should encourage many and many more people to use the channel, and therefore that would be one of the disincentives for the service. Number two, as we move into payments itself, remember, people are just using it as a channel to pay for goods and services. So assuming that today I'm holding money and I want to buy something, I buy and I pay the value for the item and walk away. And so if paying through mobile money is going to attract an additional tax, then that becomes in itself a double taxation and a disincentive to the customer. So we don't believe that that is something we should look at, and we will strongly continue to engage and ensure that we get some of these messages across to sustain this operation and deepen financial inclusion, as the case may be.
So obviously, that brings us into the thoughts that there's no competition between banks and telcos in the mobile money wallet payment space, is there?
I've had this conversation over and over again, and I said that I believe that we are complementing each other because before mobile money, the banks wouldn't have had access to the kind of float that we generated. We are talking about over 2 billion CDs in float, which the banks today have access to, which would have been sitting in people's pockets and under their beds. But with a more efficient service like mobile money, we've gone out there and been able to mop up this. So the banks are benefiting from it. So that's how we are complementing the banks in terms of raising float to run their business, because otherwise they would have had to do it more expensive because they don't have the kind of structures that mobile money has going into retail and actually delivering retail value. So I think, and today we are talking about link to bank account, the interoperability. So banks are able to bank their customers on the go. So essentially today, I don't need to go into a banking hall to put money into my bank account. Once I have the money on my mobile money, I can actually bank on the go. And if I need cash in the same way, I don't need to visit the bank to take that money. Whilst there at the market, I can move money into my wallet and actually execute a transaction. So it's a complementary environment in which we are. And we believe that there's just so much we can do together to enable the economy to transform quickly.
Oh, that's good. So what's the future of mobile money payments and MMI in Africa? Are we likely to see integrated and cross-border payments anytime soon?
Yes, I mean, cross-border, very important because as even starting from West Africa, we want to enable trading among ourselves. That channel becomes a very smart approach to deliver it. And because now we have interoperability, it means that between the bank and the wallet also, we are able to interlink transactions, move money into the bank to execute other forms of transactions which will not be possible on the wallet. So yes, we see it as something that will drive economic transformation and expand the payment space. And also for cross-border today, if that is enabled, then it means traders can actually trade among themselves using their wallets. Small traders, for that matter, they may not need a bank account to do that. And if you do that, then it means all these small traders who go back and forth across our country and continent to do business can have a much enhanced business transactions delivered for them. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Eli. This is such an informative session for us, and thanks for hosting us. I've got one last question, and that's for ourselves, the members on this forum. What are the business opportunities in mobile money payment service that members can explore, or we can all, as a forum, we can be part of?
Okay. First of all, with mobile money today, we are enabling a lot of services that are able to connect to our platform. Recently, we just launched a pensions product. So if you are into any kind of service that requires payments to be executed, you can contact us. We can facilitate that. If you have an online service today that you need to integrate onto our platform so that our customers can access your services and pay using mobile money, that's an opportunity you can look at. We are trying to expand the payment ecosystem, and therefore all the solutions that would make payment easier and facilitate it. So we are today going into QR codes, and we'll still continue to use the bank courses and other courses that are available. So if you're a technology service provider and you want to come into that space, that's also an opportunity for you as well. And if you're in any kind of business, insurance, insurance, and you feel that you want to digitize your operations, yes, it's an opportunity for you as well. And if you want to also do remittances into Ghana, it's also another area we can look at because today we are enabling that with our partners. So there's just so much. It depends on where your business interest is. Once we sit down together, we can fashion something that can be of interest.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. One of the things that, of course, is quite key to us at the moment is remittances. So, we definitely have a lot to talk about and a lot of opportunities. But yes, we're waiting for you on this instance where we'd like to invest in your business. So, as promised, you're going to get in touch with us and, of course, try and organize a means for us to be able to, or a channel for us to be able to, find and invest in your business.
Yes, I'll do that. Just straightforward is I'm sure some basic information at least I can provide. The shares are going for 75p, but the minimum is 10, so 50 pesos, and you can start investing in our shares. So I'll get the transaction advisors. I'll set up an engagement so they can clarify a few issues to make it clearer, and so you can make an informed decision. That I'll do by tomorrow or the day after, and you can start investing in MTN shares.
Wonderful. So it means that once we've got these people, if you can invite them, if you send us the details, we invite them onto the forum, and then we'll organize a session with them. And then
that would be nice, and they can help you understand a lot of the things.
Thank you so much, Eli.
Welcome.
I'm hoping we have to release you now because, of course, you haven't completed or finished your journey yet. You're still on your TikTok ready. Thank you so much for joining in. You've been so helpful to us. It's unbelievable because now we have so much information to rely on. Also, you're still with us on the forum anyway. So if our viewers have any more questions and they want to ask, hello, Eli is still with us on the forum. You can always send your questions and he'll return back with some answers at the appropriate time. Thank you, Eli, so much.
Thank you, Theo.
Yeah, and it's good seeing you.
Right, good seeing you too. Take care.